Howdy, it's very late at night. I had friends over to watch Batman stuff tonight in anticipation of my next or maybe second next post, which is going to be a bunch of nerdy friends sitting around discussing Batman, so stay tuned for that. But for tonight, I have a post that is inspired by, I hope I will get this name right, Hayashi Masahiro. I'm going to guess. And this person was really interested in my analysis of Evanescence's song Everybody's Fool and the music video, and requested that I analyze another Evanescence song and video called The Game Is Over. And this is actually from an album that I did not know was out. I don't know how I missed an Evanescence album coming out. I guess I was just super busy. But I was really glad I'd never seen this before or heard it before. And I was really glad that Hayashi mentioned it because it was fascinating. It was an excellent song and an excellent video. And so I'm going to give you some thoughts about it. And if you want to chip in, please do so. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Feel free to email me. Feel free to comment. I love to hear from you. It was so wonderful hearing from someone that was like, oh my gosh, I liked something on your channel and I have a request. I loved it. So this song, The Game Is Over. What is the game that they're talking about? This state of being in this game, this thing that they are working to transcend throughout the song. The game involves denial, we know from the lyrics. It involves lying, although the singer is talking about they don't want to lie. They have to play along. This is also in the lyrics, right? So there's a lot of lying, denial, deception. It seems to be self-deception as well. And if we look at how this is represented in the video, at the beginning of the video, we have faces that are split. Right, so they're in denial of each other. There's a disjunct going on with identity. There are different versions of people that are at odds with each other, right, or that are compartmentalized from each other. And we see this facets when the faces are split. We also see faces being obscured by like makeup. Several times they're obscured by X's. So this X seems to stand for denial as well as self-denial, as well as like nullification, possibly nihilism. We have different versions of the selves being superimposed so that they're there, but there's still a separateness or a compartmentalized notion to them. We have mud, right, sinking down into the mud, and the mud it's not clear, it's obscure, it's opaque, right, and her face is going down into that mud. And we have once or twice the singer looking into the mirror, and there's like a darkened version of herself. So this also has to do with this theme of like denial and separateness from self, as well as from others, because we have the separate members of the band in all these little vignettes in the video, but there are no other people. They're themselves, and they are in superimposed images or split versions of themselves, other versions of themselves, but not of other people. So they seem to be compartmentalized from other people as well. So let's think about, parts of our lives where we are compartmentalized, where we are denying ourselves our identity, as well as being separated from other people. And the one that really springs to mind for me is social media, because we are presenting ourselves in social media, but we're presenting disjuncted aspects of ourselves. We're usually showing versions of ourselves that are at one and the same time more positive than perhaps what's really going on, because we mask our pain, we mask things that are difficult for us. But at the same time, in that positivity, it's about lying, it's about denial, it's about an image of yourself that isn't true to yourself, right? It's an image created for other people, and yet you're separated from other people. Now, yeah, this happens in day-to-day, face-to-face interactions. I think it often happens when someone says, "How are you?" and we say, "Oh, I'm fine," right? Which is often not true, and it masks the pain that we're going through, but that pain is more real, it's more genuine. And so I think that the transcendence is moving away from that denial, those fake selves of social media, of the I'm fine interactions, of a lot of our interactions with other people, and in a sense, ones that technology has aided and abetted. And moving toward, and the song urges us to move toward a transcendent state, or it describes a transcendence from the game. So what does that look like in terms of the lyrics and as well the images in the video? So lyrically, the singer is talking about, not having to pretend anymore. She mentioned, she says, sweet words mean nothing if they're not true, right? She talks about having something to believe in. So this game state, the self-denial state, right, it also involves that lack of belief. And we saw the X's that might represent nihilism, as well as self-denial, as well as denial of the self. And so I think that's also going on. But it's important to note here that transcending the game is not just, oh, okay, we moved in a positive direction. It moves us away from false positivity and denying ourselves. But and Evanescence does this again and again. They don't say, hey, it's easy, you can fix it. They don't say, hey, mental illness just goes away. Evanescence is over and over again about the fight. And it's not like, and they don't sugarcoat it. They don't say, oh, and then it'll all be better. But then you're fighting. Now, sometimes the fight leads into a place where suicide can be seen as positive. And I don't think that they're encouraging people to commit suicide at all. But I think they're just saying it's realistic. Sometimes when you're suicidal, sometimes when you're very depressed, moving away from life can seem positive. And I think you see this in a song like Lithium, perhaps. But then in a song like Everybody's Fool, as Hayashi pointed out in their post, you have a situation where, yeah, the sun is out at the end, but this person's been through a long, hard night. There's still a window in between them and the world, and that may represent, that's another surface that's possibly still in the way, but it's a clear surface and it does let us see the sun. So it's a movement in a positive direction, but it's not wholly positive. It's not unadulterated positivity. Okay. And I think that's what's going on in The Game Is Over as well. It's like, this is what we need to do. We need to move away from and transcend the game. Right. But that doesn't mean it's all going to be easy. And I think we see this in the lyrics when they talk about, burning away the hate and then it leaves pain. Well, moving away from hate is a step in a positive direction. But yeah, there's still a lot of pain and we're still going to have to move through that. It's still going to be a fight. And that to me seems, genuinely Evanescence for that to be part of the lyrics in this song. So how does that manifest in the images in the video? So as the video moves onward, we see in terms of images, this transcendence, this movement away from the game. We had mud before, which was opaque and which obscures. And now we have like clean water, clean clouds of air. So, and she's still sinking in the water at one point, but at least this is a medium that you can see through. So it seems to be the opposite of that sense of denial of self and others. We have molting. We have like the feathers falling, which I think is symbolic of transformation, the way that birds molt. We have an outward expansion. So the fingers are moving outward. There are like black rays that are moving away from the person, which are kind of the same kind of symbolism as the dress, moving outward as she pulls at it. So we have that expansion of the self, and even on toward the end of the video, we have the singer reaching the finger toward the viewer, right? Almost to imply that we're out there, we're part of this. We also need to move away from the game. So I love that, kind of breaking the fourth wall imagery. And then where we had the split faces before, we now have faces that are whole, and in a couple of places it's like they're magnified with boxes around them, but they're not split anymore. They're whole faces. So they may still be separate from the environment. They're moving and pulsing outward with this general outward movement that comes later in the video, but they aren't split anymore. So that sense of self-denial has been taken away from the video. And in fact, there's a man at one point in the video near the end who is saying goodbye to a faceted crystal, and these facets are like the facets that split the faces before, and he's leaving that behind. So a really awesome video. I loved analyzing this one. It speaks a lot to me as someone who lives with symptoms of mental illness and is working to transcend mental illness. It seems very real to me because I don't believe in just, oh, everything gets better one day. No, you have to keep working and striving every day in that direction. And yeah, there's a lot of pain that you have to go through and fight through. But songs like this really inspire me to get through that. I hope they inspire you. Thank you so much. Again, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, Hayashi Masahiro, for the suggestion. This was awesome. I loved it. And stay tuned for Batman stuff. Please send requests if you want to, and have a fantastic night in this case.